ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
But let's go to Bill. Bill's in Alabama. Hello to you.
Good afternoon. How are you? I've been listening to you, and as an old man that's been around and seen a lot, I grew up in Detroit during the race riots in the 60s and the 70s, and been around and seen it. And the world today is a better place than it was back then. The problem that I see today is we need to hold people accountable and responsible for their actions. Back in the days, like when I grew up, my daddy, if I did something wrong, Lord help you, you went home and daddy had to straighten you out. Nobody else needed to. In today's world, we don't hold people accountable and responsible. And we need to look at people for who they are.
Okay. All right. Those are nice platitudes, Bill. What does that look like? What does accountability look like in this day and age? Give me an example. See.
Okay, I'll give you one that's going on right now. All the Democrats that ran from Texas not doing their jobs.
That's a wrong example, Bill. That's an absolutely
Bill.
wrong. They are actually doing their job. They are speaking for the people that sent them to the state house to represent them. They are representing the people who want them to stand in the gap and not let this gerrymandering go through. Bill, they're doing their job.
All right, so we're going to say they're doing their jobs.
No, we're not going to say it. We're telling they're doing their job. They were elected by their constituents to prevent this from happening. They've been told by their constituents they don't want their districts to be gerrymandered out of power. So they are doing the only thing that they can do, which is to not show up.
Not to mention they're doing this mid-decade. This is not how this works.
Yes.
This works at the end of the decade. They are breaking.
No, this is wrong. What the Texas governor is doing is wrong. Who's holding him accountable, Bill, in Alabama? When you called, sir, when you called, I did sense, and let me just say, y'all, there's a difference between me doing what he's asking me to do, which is to hold him accountable, and destroying him verbally, which is to talk about his breath, his mama, his cross eyes, whether or not he has dingleberries or whether his penis is small, like all of that. I don't know him, right? So I'm not going to get into all of the physical ailments that he may have. Like, that's what I've stopped doing. But what I will always do is not let you call up and feed us dog crap, Bill. And I know, you think the world is better today than when you were growing up in Detroit. I'm imagining, let me just ask you one question, Bill. What's your background?
My background?
Yes.
I come from a blue-collar family, from a daddy that did leaded pigments out of a boxcar.
No.
Company called DuPont.
Okay.
Died from lead poisoning.
Okay. I'm sorry that happened. What's your background?
So you want to talk about backgrounds? We can talk about backgrounds.
I just asked you a question. I asked you a question. If you don't want to answer it, that's fine.
I answered your question. What's my background? I'm a blue-collar man that made something of himself from nothing.
Okay, my dad did too. My dad actually wasn't blue-collar. He was poor, very, very poor, and ended up becoming a millionaire from Newark, New Jersey. It's amazing. It's amazing. That story should be told. You've answered my question because you know what I'm asking you. So you're being, you're obfuscating the question for a particular reason. So I find you to be dishonest, Bill. So you called the show, you slipped in something on the side to have this conversation, but you're not really trying to be a part of the solution. That's what I'm assessing.
I can't talk about your YN statement.
No, you better not.
Honestly, in my
no. How about you don't even say those two letters together, ever?
I don't think that term should be used by anybody.
Okay. Well, I'm glad. Well,
That's
at least he knows what it means. At least he knows what it means. It's my
Yes,
opinion
ma'am.
too,
I
Bill. We
think
should have. Wait. I'm gonna let you go, because I feel like I'm on a merry-go-round, like I got on meta glasses right now. You give me a headache. But do you listen to the show on a regular basis, or you just popped in?
so, ma'am, after you attack me,
No,
can I
I
go
didn't
ahead and
attack you.
finish?
That's a lie. I didn't attack you. That is an absolute lie. You were not attacked.
Cross? Did you call me cross?
No, I didn't. I
No,
said
no,
Did you
no.
say
that
I
would
have a
be.
small
I
penis?
said that would be me attacking you, but I did not do that. So in your adult
Oh,
mind,
okay.
see, here we go. In your adult mind, you assumed that I said
Oh.
something that I didn't say.
Eh?
Adult.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's an attack.
So,
You could take that one.
that was an attack, and I
That one.
appreciate
That one was.
but I
Yeah.
wouldn't have expected anything less.
Of
Therefore,
course,
ma'am,
because you're actually a troll who is not listening with an honest ear. You're not here. Let him go. Bill, go find your happy place. It's not here. Bye. Bye.
Okay, so the responsibility thing. The one thing that I think is super, super important right now when everybody's talking about truth and telling the truth and blah, 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 is that we have got to be able to agree on what the truth is. And you've got one side talking about, because the truth is the truth, but you have one side talking about the Democrats running, and then and then leaving out these really salient points like this is not something that they do midterm, that this is a special. By the way, the Republicans did this before. And by the way, didn't Mike Johnson dismiss
Yes.
session early
To
so
not
they
talk
wouldn't
about
have to vote?
Epstein.
Come on, come on, come on, come
Yes.
on.
Yeah. But again, that makes this guy, what's his name? Bill?
Bill.
Beelzebub? Bill makes him even more dishonest that he came in with a faulty premise that he obviously
Yeah.
either didn't do the homework or didn't care to, wanted to feed this audience some crap and then try to, slide it in on the side to come in on the conversation that he really didn't want to participate in. And then when asked a direct question, which he knew
Right.
what I was asking him, refused to answer and then tried to obfuscate and go in another direction. Stop playing with us.
Right.
We're not your toys.
I have a question, Karen. Like, when I hear a radio show or I see a comment on social media and it's something that I don't agree with, I just go. I just keep on going. I don't feel like I have to jump in there and say anything crazy. But what is it about that faction? Okay. You know who I'm talking about. Why the need to come in and just crap over everything and everybody with dishonesty? What
Yeah.
is that about?
Okay. I have sat here for 10 years, Renee Seiler, and I have the answer. I have the
Okay.
answer. A person like Bill, Beelzebub, Bill, whatever Bob his name is, you're listening to this show through this voice, through this visage. You don't think maybe in your mind, I deserve to have a platform to talk. You think you know more. You think you should, and what I'm saying makes you uncomfortable because you've been fed all of this dog crap that you've been eating and it tastes delicious to you, but it's dog crap, but you sprinkled it with some Fox stuff or whatever and you love it, right? So when you listen to this, we're wrong. He's right. So he's going to come in and disrupt the wrong because we're the problem. He's been conditioned to believe we're the problem. And that, I don't know how we get around this or away from this. I'm watching John Leguizamo. He has this show, John Leguizamo in America. And it's so well done. And he's specifically going to places, finding his Latin culture in all of these places. The last episode I watched, he was in New Orleans at this Honduran restaurant. He's going through, it was just beautiful. And I love what he's doing because he's not trying to bring everybody in. This is a specific story. If you're listening to Urban View, we have a point of view here. No, we are absolutely rooted and ground. We're not trying to feed that. We're going to tell the truth, but we're going to do it through this lens. And it may not be for you, and that's okay. You can go find, come in and disrupt because you don't like what's being said and you can't refute anything that's being said. So I think, Renee, it's really an insecurity that if there are other people out there doing things and they're saying things that I don't agree with, and I'm not willing to do the work to actually find out whether it's true or not, because I'm going to feed the same itch that I have to be right. then I got to come in and disrupt. I got to disrupt this. And I
Mm.
also feel like they've been told that it is their duty to do that. I feel like they've been deputized to come in and disrupt this.
These are the people who see something happening in a store, even though they're not security, they're going to stop you. They're going to say, hey, ha, ha, hey, you shouldn't be walking out with that or whatever, right? But how much of that, Karen, also is a male thing? How much of that is rooted in misogynoir? And like, because I just don't see, is it that I mean, it's not like I'm a shrinking violet, but I just can't see going into some place like him. I can't see calling a Fox radio
You're not gonna call
show
Fox. You're not gonna call up Sean
and
Hannity and
just say,
tell
you know
him.
what? I just can't see that. And so
Maybe we
I'm really
should though.
curious.
Maybe we should
I'm not
start
wasting my
doing that.
time.
I'm not either, but somebody out there has time. It won't be me or you, but somebody has time. Maybe you know what though, because I have called. Let me just be honest. I've called Rush Limbaugh. I used to drive around when I was working at the Daily News, listening to Rush Limbaugh on my way in, and I've called a couple of times. Never got through. Never got through.
Wow.
But they have a script that they're not going to veer away from. And the problem here is we don't have a script. So if you come in, be ready to have a conversation. I
Mhm.
may ask you a question. Be ready to engage, right? And they're not, because the script is tight. And they keep it tight for a reason, because if as long as they have this script, they know what they can feel secure. I know I'm right. But what if you're not right? What if everything you've been taught is wrong? What if your Jesus is black? What if everything, George Washington, your hero, was a horrible person? What if Thomas Jefferson was a pedophile? What if everything you've been taught in school, Columbus didn't discover anything? He was drunk and lost. What if everything that you say about yourself, what if you're not white? What do you do with that, Renee? What if
Wow.
are you gonna sit with that truth?
No, you're going to fight because that's the only thing you know. You know, it's interesting too because I've been reading a lot on like how whiteness came to be, and I have this guy whose Substack I follow, um, Christian Ortiz. I'll give him a shout out, but he has this Substack called Oy Mira, and he wrote this big post recently about that whiteness has no culture, right? That whiteness has no culture, that it was built on all of these other cultures, that it's been built on taking from everybody else, that prior to this country, it was Irish and Italian and Swedish. And, that's what everybody was. But when we got here, they had to find a way to make sure that the poor whites and black folks didn't get together and start some kind of uprising. So they created this whiteness. And that was like in the 1700s, right? And that is so baked in to our society now. So can that be, is that something that can be untangled? Is that something that we could shine a light on?
I have to believe that it is, because it got tangled. So for 2,000 years, there are a group of people right now in Kemet with Dr. Gray Carr and Dr. Mario Beatty, and they're going into the tombs and they're getting to see the obelisks, and they're going into Hatshepsut and all of it. Like, they're looking at all of the origin of man, all of the things written, the astrology on the hieroglyph that they can read, because Mario Beatty's been teaching Meta Nature in Nubia for the last 3 years, and all of those. If you're a member of Narrative, go to the back and go to the front and follow. The lessons are impeccable, and it's also cathartic to write the hieroglyphs. The writing of the hieroglyphs is so spiritual. Those first days that I got to sit with him, oh my goodness, transformative. Let me put that over there. But you get to see with your own eyes the stealing, the borrowing, the museums. Dr. Carr calls them crime scenes, the CSI. They're full of people that they have told the world have no culture, but you have all of the artifacts from these people that you say have no culture. It's not. There's no white display. If you go to, there's no display of what's the white tools and all. No, you're looking at all of these, right? These dynasties, right? And you're all the museums have the culture. To your point, if you're identifying as white today, why would you allow them to steal your
Exactly.
origin story?
Exactly.
You're Irish or you're English, you're German, or why would you allow them to lump you in with something that is nothing that they created to oppress other people? Why do you allow that? And why do you feed that to your children? Why do you fight for it? What is it about that that makes you whole when it's just like, I don't understand that, Renee.
Yeah.
But once they've done it, I get the fight. But
Yeah.
now the fight is to hold the mirror up. Is this who you are? Are you really white? What does that mean? And then asking the question, you have to find an answer. And if the answer lands you on nothing, it's a made up construct, then you have a responsibility to do something with that.
Yeah.
Don't double down
And
on it. It's hard.
that's tough.
It's hard.
That's real tough because that means all of the pillars on which you built your entire life they're not there. They're fake. Now
Right.
what do you do? And if you're like, like the president of the United States and you're 70, however old he is, you're like, you have this lifetime of now. I don't even want to use him as an example because he's
Yeah.
not that
No,
self-aware.
please don't.
But
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying though. But at that
I
point,
do.
what do you do with that? Your entire life is
Admit
what?
the
Built on a
truth. Listen,
lie?
admit the truth. Yeah. Okay. Like, there are people who just discovered that their daddy wasn't their daddy.
Mm,
Okay. Like, does that change who you are?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Does that change who? If I were to discover that Donald Hunter was not my father, it wouldn't change my relationship to him. It wouldn't change who I am as a person. It would change my lineage, and I would have questions, and I would feel some ways, and it would take me a minute to mourn that. But if the DNA says you are not the father, I'm gonna have to accept that, and you know what I'm saying, and reimagine who in the midst of it, and be
Right.
grateful that I had that time with this person who did shape me. Like, I think a lot of us live in lies because the truth requires something of you. The
Yes.
truth requires something of you, and most of us aren't willing to do that work. It is hard. It is hard. It is hard.
Yeah. I agree
But
with you.
it's so
Yeah.
rewarding on the other side. I have a clip from Garrison Hayes that I want to play that speaks to what you're talking about. And let me just say, everybody in chat, Nubia, is saying that I did the very thing that I said I wasn't going to do. I promise you, I did not. Like,
I
this
heard
is
you.
there's a nuance to this that you can gather somebody without snatching their entire soul, or you can snatch a soul without it being too personal. The
You
personal
said
stuff is
you
tough.
could do that, but you
Yes.
wouldn't do that. You said you
Which tells
could.
me,
If I-
Renee,
Not
that his
listening.
eyes are crossed, which I couldn't know because I'm on the radio. So he just told everybody that he's got crossed eyes. I didn't say it, but I appreciate knowing that I was right. I was just guessing. See,
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will